Don't forget to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you know when videos drop. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Mr. Peacock and Friends. Cookie time!
Mrs. Peacock, I'm going to make a peacock cookie. Mr. Peacock bakes peacock cookies. Oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever baked a cookie in my life. Mrs. Peacock, can you help me with this?
I'll tell you the recipe, but you get to mix it up and cut them out and frost them and decorate them and have a good time, and I get to laugh.
Oh, are you ready for this? Because this is going to be very special. We have our festive t-shirts on, our lights behind us, and we are ready to roll, literally. I'm going to be rolling out the dough, and Mrs. Peacock, don't laugh too loud when I try to decorate these peacock cookies and they look more like a turkey.
This should be fun.
In fact, Mrs. Peacock's right over there out of the camera view. She's going to give me the recipe. We got the GoPro camera for a close-up, and we got the other camera, what I'm looking into now. This is going to be interesting. Here we go. Are you ready, Mrs. Peacock?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. What do we do first, Mrs. Peacock?
You need to have 1 1/2 cup powdered sugar.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun. 1 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a mess. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Here's the 1/2 cup. This is going to be interesting. 1/2 cup. Whoops, now I got to get this little thing out of here. Again, I'm not like Martha Stewart or anything. This is Mr. Peacock's baking time. Okay, let's get the other one here. Oh, that cup almost didn't fit in there, Mrs. Peacock.
No, that's why there's a scoop in it.
Well, I don't use the scoop because powdered sugar is kind of a mess. Okay, here we go. Oh wow, this is not working very good. I guess you're right. I am going to have to use a scoop here. As you can see, I can't bake very well, but I'm sure these will be yummy. Here we go. Put some more in there. Oh wow, that's fun. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got this off to the side. Mrs. Peacock, what's next?
1 cup of butter.
1 cup of butter? How do I do that?
You just throw them in.
You mean I throw this butter in just like this? Oh my gosh.
Unwrap it first.
Oh, okay. Gotta take off the wrapping. Yeah, that would be kind of hard on the teeth, I would think. All right, here we go. Cup of butter. There's the first cup of butter thing. We'll stick this in the sink over there. Hey, here comes the next one. Mrs. Peacock, I'm almost ready. What's coming up next while I unwrap this rascal?
1 egg.
Oh, wow. I happen to have that egg already cracked up, and boy, it won't be a big joke this time. All right, here we go. 1 egg. There she is. There's that egg. Isn't that beautiful? Nice organic eggs. Okay, there we go. It's in there. All right, now, what do I do now, Mrs. Peacock?
1 teaspoon vanilla.
Oh, wow. Is this the vanilla here?
Green one.
Oh, that's
Nope.
almond. No, this is the vanilla. Oh, wow. Here we go. This is going to be great. 1 teaspoon. Where's my teaspoon? Oh, boy. I think I like Peacock videos easier, but I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this. 1 teaspoon. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. All right, there it goes. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. What's next, Mrs. Peacock?
1/2 teaspoon of almond.
1/2 teaspoon? Oh my goodness. Okay, gotta find a half. Hey, I sound like I'm at a wrestling match. In this corner, Mr. Peacock with 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Here he comes. Okay. Whoops. That wasn't very good. I almost lost this very expensive vanilla. And I have a vanilla smelling hand now. I bet that's fun.
That's almond.
Whoops, I put too much vanilla in there, Mrs. Peacock.
That's okay.
Well, I guess we're going to be a little vanilla, and my hand's nice and vanilla.
Half teaspoon of almond.
Okay.
Not vanilla, almond.
Almost couldn't get the almond open, Mrs. Peacock.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Whew. Boy, I really smell nice. I have the most nice smelling hands in the world. Okay, there's the almond. That's live and unedited, people. This is Mr. Peacock baking. Okay, what's next?
Mix it up.
Oh, wow. Could I mix up my hand?
No.
Yes, I gotta mix up my hand. I'm getting some water.
Get a fork.
Oh, okay, I'll get a fork. You don't want to use my hand, okay?
No.
I got a fork. Okay, here we go. Mixy, mixy, mixy. Okay. All right, here we go. We're gonna mix this up. You know what? The butter's not mixing very well, Mrs. Peacock.
You'll just have to work.
Okay. Okay, Mrs. Peacock, I got it all mixed up. If you could see, That was hard. The butter wasn't quite as soft. Room temperature here is not usually very room temperature. It's cool in this house, and here it is. It's so good. What's next, Mrs. Peacock?
1 teaspoon baking soda.
1 teaspoon baking soda. Here we go. Right? There's 1 teaspoon baking soda. What's next, Mrs. Peacock?
1½ teaspoon baking powder.
1 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Here's the 1. Let's find that half. Okay, where's that half? Oh, there you are, Mr. Half. Okay. Here's the half, Mrs. Peacock. Almost ready. All right, and there's the half. What's up now, Mrs. Peacock?
Flour.
Flour? Uh-oh, I gotta get this big, huge flour container out. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. See how much of a mess I can make with this. I don't want to spill the flour. Okay, what do we do with that, Mrs. Peacock?
2 1/2 cups of flour.
There's the 1. And going for number 2 cup. There she goes. Oh boy, this is good. Okay, now I'm gonna put this cup back over here by the sink. And the half is coming right up, Mrs. Peacock. Okay. And what do I have next, Mrs. Peacock?
Mix it all together.
Oh no, this is gonna be even more difficult. Let me get this out of the way. All right, I'm gonna mix this up. I wonder how Martha Stewart does this kind of stuff. By the way, did you know, Mrs. Peacock, that Martha Stewart has peacocks?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and she's had some problems with them, but she's never contacted us. Maybe she can give me some more tips of how to bake things, but that's okay. I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with Martha. If you ask me for help with peacocks, I'll ask you for help for baking. What you didn't see was trying to get this dough to work was almost a disaster. I had to put it in a blender, or what do you call that, Mrs. Peacock?
It's a food processor.
Oh, a food processor, that's right. I had to put it in a food processor, and what happened was, it wasn't working good. Then I had it on my hands, and finally, I got it into a nice ball and worked it with my good old-fashioned fingers, and here it is. And now Mrs. Peacock tells me I have to go ahead and split it in 2 and then roll it out, and now the fun begins. I get to make peacocks. Wow. I got the old-fashioned rolling pin. I've got some good flour here, and I've got 1/2 of the dough. And now the fun part begins. How thick am I supposed to make that, Mrs. Peacock?
Well, if you want to measure it.
No, I'm not going to measure it. How thick does it say?
It says 3/16.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but I'll figure that out. So here I go. I'm going to put a little flour. I love this part. When I make my mom's strudel, which should be a video on that sometime soon, I love rolling out the dough. I almost want to sing the song, Roll Out the Dough, having a ball of fun. Here we go. Oh, this is a little different than my icebox strudel that I make that my mom used to make. Oh, that's not going to work pretty good because that's going to be a little sticky. And those of you who are good bakers are probably laughing. And you can laugh. That's fun. This is what this is about. This is, actually, it's a lot easier to make peacock videos because I don't have to bake at the same time. Okay, wow. Mrs. Peacock, you're going to have to tell me if this looks good. You know what's really bad when you bake?
What?
When your nose itches. My nose is itching.
Well, that's too bad.
But I can't touch it.
Nope.
No. Oh, Mrs. Peacock, why is that happening?
Because it needs more flour.
Oh, no. Okay, I've powdered it in there.
Yep.
Don't laugh.
You don't have to be perfect.
I have to have it perfect. Okay, oh, this is interesting. Now, maybe you better check it out when it's ready to be. I don't know, Mrs. Peacock. Okay, tell me what you think.
Oh, yeah.
Am I close to where
Yes.
it needs to be?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Oh, now this comes the fun part.
Yep.
Then I put it on. Oh, by the way, I have these little trays right here. They are old-fashioned trays. They look kind of burnt from our pizzas in the past. We use parchment paper so I don't have to clean it. Boy, my nose is itching. Okay, Mrs. Peacock, which one do I do? Okay, this is the one that I have that I'm going to do next here. So I know how to do this. This is fun. Wow. Once I got it there, Mrs. Peacock, what do I do? Do I just
keep making.
keep making them? Oh, cool! I'm gonna make peacocks. Wow, he looks. Oh, I'm sorry. I got really excited. All right. Wow. This is interesting. This is like doing art. And I'm not an artist in any sense. Uh-oh. Where did he go? Oh, good. I thought I heard his head. His crown almost came off.
Uh-oh.
That's not good. Okay, how many more can I get in here?
Don't know.
Oh, wow. This is going to be a lot of peacocks, Mrs. Peacock.
Good.
Okay, how do I do this? Ooh. Ooh. Oh, let's do it this way.
Don't know how much space you have.
Well, I don't know either. I think I got one more and that's it.
Okay.
So now, this is going to be fun. I pull off. I'm going to get a spatula. That might help.
This should be fun.
This should be fun.
But kind of thin. So
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. Well, Mrs. Peacock, this is time for you to laugh. This is not working out like I thought.
They're kind of thin.
They're kind of thin. Is that good or bad?
Yeah, I like them thin.
Okay, well,
But,
okay, I got to get on my knees here. This is going to become a big project here. It's almost like hatching out peahen eggs. Okay, well, at least I can make some more. There's a nice ball over here. There it goes. But how am I going to get him to do his thing? Peacock is not happy. He wants to go into the... Oh, that's not good either. He wants to go into the oven. Well, he's not a live peacock.
These are cookies.
These are cookies.
It's okay.
Wow, hey, that one came out pretty good. The next one I'm going to make thicker, Mrs. Peacock.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little. Well, I've never done this before.
Nope.
I made my mom's icebox strudel. Uh-oh. Guess what?
What?
It doesn't come off. It breaks. All right, let's see if I can get... Well, that peacock's destroyed. Oh, his head came off. Oh, gosh. That's a nice little crown to the peacock head. But you know what, Mrs. Peacock? I have to start all over again.
Yeah, that's
All right.
sometimes happens.
Well, that's okay because...
Is he sticking to that?
Yeah, he's sticking to that, so...
Needs more flour.
I'm going to get more flour, but that's okay.
How many did you get? One?
None.
None?
I didn't get any out of this bunch.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Yep, put some flour down.
Okay.
Live and learn.
Well,
Bake and learn.
bake and learn. Okay, one more try here. We get a lot of flour out here. I used to put a lot of flour on when I make my mom's icebox strudel. Okay, now this time it's going to be better. Maybe my dough's no good. Maybe Mrs. Peacock, I didn't do a good enough job on my dough.
I think the dough is fine.
Okay. Now, I'm sure all you wonderful bakers out there, guys and gals, are laughing, and that's okay. I'm going to make this thicker. I want my peacocks. It'll be supper time by the time I get this done. We started off early this morning, right after peacock chores. All right, Mrs. Peacock, I want you to come in. Whoops, I messed that up.
You want me to inspect?
Oh, yes. Otherwise, we may be doing this all day. Oh, boy. That's not good.
Just a tad over here.
Well, it's a mess over here.
That's because it's thin.
Okay.
A little bit here.
Okay.
Into the edge.
Okay. I'm used to knowing that icebox strudel is usually,
Okay.
you want it really smooth. Now let's see how this works this time. I'm just going to do one to make sure it works.
Yep, take him out. See if it works.
I am thinking. I am thinking.
What are you thinking?
He lost his legs. Okay. I'm going to be back in a little bit. I'm going to try this one more time. Maybe the third time is the way to go. Martha, where are you when I need you? I'll be back in a second. It's been about 25 minutes since I last visited with you. And making these cookies are difficult. They have to be thick enough. And the problem is the head of, I'll put it here so you can see it maybe, the head and the feet seem to always get stuck and break. So I'm going to try to do the next two on camera. I think I got it down. You got to have a lot of flour with this, and they have to be thicker, I guess. And that's part of the problem. So I'm going to dip my little cutout in the flour. Kind of learned that. Mrs. Peacock gave me that idea. She's just enjoying this, sitting back and watching me flounder all over my Peacock cookies. I've got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7. Let's see if I can make 2 more out of this dough. Then I'm going to start the other Peacock cookies. We'll see what happens. So here we go. I'm going to make 1 out of this one. Push them down and wiggle them. Let's see if I can get him out. Wow, maybe he's gonna come out. His feet look good. And by golly, his head fell off. So that's what's been happening here the whole time. I'm gonna go off camera for a while and get 1 more, and then we're gonna do our second type of peacock. That's a 3D peacock. That should be easier, I think. Okay, here it is. I finally got 8 cookies. Got them on the parchment paper. I would say that if you're going to get this particular peacock cutout, what do you call these, Mrs. Peacock?
It's a cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter cutout. I'm frustrated. This has been a difficult situation. I think the key thing is you got to have it thick enough so that the parts of the peacock, including the head and the feet, stay together. Now we're going to start on a 3D cookie, which has got a tail feather, which is like over here. And I guess, what's this, the feet?
Feet.
This is the feet.
And the body.
And this is the body. Now I have no idea how this is going to work, Mrs. Peacock. And that's going to be fun. She can't wait for me to decorate it. I think decorating is going to be much easier, but we'll have to see. Here we go. Okay, I'm ready to go. I don't know how successful I'll be with this, but I got a learning curve from the first set of peacocks. This is quite a bit different. I'm going to stick this tail feather part in there and wiggle it around so it comes out nicely. And it looks like it did well. I'm going to put the body part right next to it right here. Get out of the camera spot here and wiggle it around. That worked nicely. Got to find a sharp end. Here we go. And I got a little spot here for some feet. 1 foot.
You'll need 2
Oh,
for
2
bird.
feet for bird. Oh, I better. That's silly. Whoa, I guess his foot came out. There it is. Oh, that's a cute little peacock foot. Okay, there goes another one. Actually, the foot came out pretty decent, I think. Okay, well, he didn't lose his toe. Good. All right, I guess we'll try another one. This is peacock. Oh, let's get the parchment tray full here and put the nice little feet on the tray right here. Aren't they adorable? You would like them, Mrs. Peacock.
Yes.
Okay, can I get his big part of his cookie out without destroying it? Actually, this is so much easier.
I told you.
Wow, Mrs. Peacock, what do I know? I know peacocks. I'm going to cut a couple extra feet here for the next one. Might as well use that dough. Whoops. Okay, Mr. Foot. There you go. That's a cute little foot. He's ready for the next one. And let's get the, what is this, the head?
It's kind of the head. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I don't have him. He's kind of crooked. Okay, let's make another one. This is going to be exciting. I may get 2 more, Mrs. Peacock. We'll see.
Good.
That'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wiggle it. I like to wiggle it. That's what I've learned.
I told you.
Yeah, well, you're smarter than I am. What can I say, Mrs. Peacock?
This is true.
You're very smart.
Yes.
Okay, oh, darn it. But yeah, I could get 1 more in there if I do it this way. You're all laughing at Mr. Peacock here making cookies, but this one's a lot easier than that other one. Okay, so how many more? I gotta have another head. I got 1 head there, and I gotta have another head here. 2 heads, Mrs. Peacock?
If you want a 2-headed peacock, I suppose.
No, I got 2. 1, 2, 3, so I have to have 1 more here. Okay, let's do that here. Actually, this is working out really good. I like this. I'm having fun now. I didn't have fun before. When the camera was off, it was kind of like, this is not fun. Whose idea was this to make peacock cookies?
Yours.
Mine? Boy, next time I do silly things like that, tell me I'm full of baloney. But no, I'm going to be full of cookies here, maybe. Okay, so I got 2 sets of feet and 3 heads. Now I can get this guy out of here. Oh, wow, this is working out pretty darn good. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, my goodness. I'll put him over there. I'm going to have 4 cookies. 2 for me and 2 for Mrs. Peacock. We're not going to share with anybody else, just us. We're just going to have our little Peacock cookies here. And that is it. So, what we're going to do is get rid of the rest of this dough, and then we're going to bake them, and the fun begins after we get them baked and cooled off, and then we'll decorate. Okay, at last I've got the big Peacock 3Ds ready to go in the oven. And what was the oven? How many degrees was that, Mrs. Peacock?
375 degrees.
375 degrees. And this is from an old cookbook that I got Mrs. Peacock when we first got married some 43 years ago. It's the Betty Crocker cookbook.
Yes.
That's the recipe. So, but you could use any kind of butter cookie to your choice to make these things. I got 2 more Peacocks with the leftover dough without them breaking. And now we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Peacocks. It's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna place the first one in the oven right behind me here. And I'm gonna turn this camera around so you can see the oven. And how long is this gonna be, Mrs. Peacock?
For 8 minutes.
8 minutes. So we're gonna cook this thing for 8 minutes in our stove. Okay, the cookies are gonna come out. We're gonna see how good these cookies really are. Oh my gosh, oh wow, they puffed up. I never expected those cookies to puff up. What do I know? I never think.
Lightly browned.
I don't know, Mrs. Peacock. They're not lightly brown. Maybe a couple more minutes.
Around the edges. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I think so.
We'll let them go a couple more minutes.
Okay, just a couple. They want them lightly browned.
So,
the edge.
2 more minutes, and then we'll let them cool, and I can't wait to frost them. Mrs. Peacock thinks I'm going to have all kinds of problems with that, but we'll see. Let me get the timer going here, and 2 more minutes, we'll be done. The 2 minutes is up,
Yep.
and now we'll see if the cookies are done. Oh, Mrs. Peacock, they don't look lightly brown to me. Oh, wait a second. They're starting to turn brownish.
Oh yeah, they're done.
They're done. Okay, now we're going to put the other ones in. Mrs. Peacock, are you ready for this?
Yes.
I got the feet and the bodies and the huge tail feathers. This is fun. 8 more minutes and we'll see how these turn out.
Good.
See you in a bit. It's time. The second batch of special Peacock cookies are done. And here they are. Aren't they beautiful? But they are going to be made into 3D Peacock cookies. Mrs. Peacock, you're gonna have fun helping me?
I'm gonna watch you.
She's gonna watch me. Maybe I should shut off the alarm. I'm so excited about the Peacock cookies. Now we're gonna get the cookies cooled off so we can frost them. So Mrs. Peacock, I guess we're gonna take a little break and we'll be back in a moment to frost the cookies. Cookies are nice and cool. We put them out on the porch, cool them down, and the next section of this is going to be frosting them. Mrs. Peacock thinks I'm gonna have a lot of trouble with this, but I love frosting things. I like building things and using cement, and it's the same sort of thing, except for this is edible, unlike the cement that I usually do to fix things. So I'm gonna take it here, and I'm gonna start frosting the big guys. They're easier. And this is Mrs. Peacock's favorite frosting. And this is very fascinating because she thinks that I'm not going to be able to do this very well. In fact, I'm going to get closer to the camera while I do this. This is actually fun. I like this. It's nice. When I bake her birthday cake, I always like to frost them. Look at that. Wow. And the peacock's going to get designed onto this thing too. So it's going to be really great. And this is, what kind of a frosting is this, Mrs. Peacock?
It's buttercream frosting. It's decorator frosting.
Decorator frosting. So all you have to do is go online, find yourself a frosting that's for cookies, or maybe you have a family recipe. We didn't have one, we just made one up. Well, Mrs. Peacock, I'm going to let you see if this looks good enough for you. I don't know. What do you think, Mrs. Peacock?
Let me see. Ooh, looks yummy.
Yeah, and Mrs. Peacock's been doing one thing here. She's been sticking her fingers in the frosting. And that's not good because she's going to end up eating it before we get it on all the cookies. So It's going to take me a little while to get all the white frosting on, and then we're going to decorate the peacock and make him look like a peacock. I don't know how that's going to go, but we're going to give it a try. We'll be back in a little bit. It's been many hours since we last videotaped. I've been working. We had this little, what do they call this, a pastry bag? I don't know what I'm doing. The first thing we had like a little plunger thing, like a syringe. It worked the first time and then it didn't. So then we went back to the old pastry bags and that worked pretty good. Now, I'm not an artist, but here's what it looks like, what I did with those peacocks that were falling apart. They're kind of cute. We're gonna feather them off a little bit. They're not too bad. And then now, this is the other part. And now we have to assemble them. Now, it's getting their supper time. And one of the things that is kind of a problem right now is that I'm looking at the clock and it's time to do peacock chores, the real ones. We won't get to enjoy these until later tonight once we put them together. I believe these guys are all ready for our consumption, and these guys have to be put together. So we're going to see how one will go together, and we'll show you how we put it together once we figure it out. Well, now you've seen the whole procedure from the beginning to the end. It's been a long day, hasn't it, Mrs. Peacock?
I would say we started this morning. Now it's late afternoon. Yeah.
It's time to do the real peacock chores. This has been a peacock chore cookie day. You started at 9 a.m. this morning, took a break at about 1 o'clock for lunch, came back, and now it's 3:45, time for chores. Now, I would say for my first attempt at these cookies, it's not too bad. Let me show this close up to the camera. I don't know, it's interesting, and that's my favorite one. This was the one that caused the most trouble when I was cutting them out from the dough. Now this one, I would say this is the most pathetic cookie I've ever seen in my life. Mrs. Peacock says it's really cute.
I think he's cute.
Got 3 parts. It's got its feet there, his tail feathers there. I put some eyes there, and I put a smiley face on it. Mrs. Peacock laughed at me. She was just hilariously funny over this whole cookie making thing. Earlier I said I got to tell Martha Stewart about our cookie making. After seeing how these cookies came out, especially this 3D cookie here, I'm not sure anybody wants to see it. I think my former elementary kindergarten music students could have done a better job, but considering it's my first time making cutout cookies, 3D cookies, butter cookies, that's what they're called.
Yep.
Not too bad. It was kind of fun. It may be a new tradition, or maybe not. Well, Mrs. Peacock, it's time for chores.
That's right. So until next time on Mr. Peacock and Friends Cookie Time, we'll see you later.
Thanks for viewing.
Hey viewers, don't forget to make a donation. The link's below.
Order The Wacky World of Peafowl books at peafowl.com.